All right, we're working on the lesson for 3-6.2, and we're going to factor trinomials or polynomials with three terms. So it says some of the factoring questions you have in this lesson can be checked with your calculator. To see how to use your calculator, watch the video. It says this is the 16th hardest homework. If you need help, talk to your instructor or go to academic services. We're getting close to the end of the unit, so you should start preparing by completing your study plan. This lesson takes about 40 minutes to complete. All right, first one is a review question. It says the national debt was $10.5 trillion in 2009. So we've got $10.5 trillion. And we've got 304 million people. It says it wants us to give the amount of money per person. So what we need to do is translate this trillion. That's times 10 to the 12th. And million is times 10 to the 6th. So on our calculator, we're going to do, my calculator was in equation mode. Okay, so we're going to do 10, let's do fraction. Fraction 10.5 times 10 to the 12th over 304 times 10 to the 6th. And we get 34,000 excuse me, $34,539. It wants it to the nearest dollar. $34,539. Number two, perform the operation. So we're going to add these two together. Negative 5m squared plus 8n minus 10, n squared minus 10n. And then we're going to subtract 8m squared and add 10m and subtract 7n and subtract negative 8m squared, or in other words, add 8m squared, and subtract 4n squared. Okay, so we have negative 5m squared plus 8n squared minus 17n plus 10m. Okay, let's get that written in here. Negative 5m squared plus 8n squared minus 17n plus 10m. Okay, what did I do wrong? Negative 5m squared. Let's look at our work again. Negative 5m squared plus 8m squared minus 10n minus 8m squared plus 10m minus 7n plus 8m squared minus 4n squared. Oh, this is supposed to be a 4 here. All right. This should be a 4. All right, next one. F of g of x. So we fill in the g of x is 2x plus 3. That is going to be x in the second one. So we're going to add 6 to it to get h circle g of x. And you get 2x plus 9. 2x plus 9. Number 5. Little multiplication going on here. Let's FOIL the second part first. 3z times 4z is 12z squared. 3z times negative 6 is negative 18z. 2 times 4z is 8z. And negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. These two combine, so you get 12z squared minus 10z minus 12. Now we have to multiply that by 4z, and we get 48z cubed minus 40z squared minus 48z. Okay, so it's 48z squared minus, or cubed, that's supposed to be, minus 40z squared. I gotta change this to a cubed here. Minus 48z. Number 6. Now we're into factoring. Okay, t squared minus t plus 7. So we're looking for two numbers that multiplied equal positive 7 and added equal negative 1. Those numbers don't exist, so this equation is prime. Let's use our calculator, and I'll show you how to do this on your calculator. Press the mode button. Oops. Press the mode button, and 5 is equations, and 3. So it's mode 5, 3, and you get an A, B, C. So you fill it in with 1, negative 1, 7. 1, negative 1, 7. And when you press equals, it says x1 equals 1/2 plus 3 root 3 over 2i. As soon as you see that it's got an I in it, you know that it is a prime polynomial. Yes, you can factor it, but when you do, you don't get any whole numbers. That's what they mean, that it's not factorable, and so we'll say it is prime. Next one. We're looking for two numbers that multiplied equal negative 24 and are 2 apart. Okay? Well, r and y, they're both going to have an r at the beginning and a y at the end. And one of them is going to be 6 and the other one's going to be 4 because those are 2 apart. The bigger one is going to be negative, so the smaller one is positive. That's the factored form. Let's use our calculator one more time. Do the mode 5, 3 again. Mode 5, 3. And let's fill it in with 1 equals negative 2 equals negative 24. And when you do, it says x1 equals 6, x2 equals negative 4. Now remember, these are factors. That's what we did over here. What the calculator just did is solve an equation, and the equation it solved was this one right here. If you put an equals 0 at the end, you change it from a factoring problem into a solving problem. Now let's notice how this is related to this answer and this is related to this answer. Okay, you take the letter that's at the beginning in each case and the letter that's at the end in each case. Change the sign here to negative 6 and change the sign here to positive 4, and you have the factored form, just like we did there. So our answer is r minus 6, r plus I'm sorry, r minus 6y and parentheses r plus 4y. Next one, a little bit tougher. And the reason it's tougher is it's got that negative sign out front. Let's capture this problem here. All right. Now, when you've got a leading coefficient, you have to multiply the negative 63 times 30. Okay, so we take on our calculator, I have to get back to the mode computation, mode 1. Negative 63 times 30, and you get negative 1890. We want two numbers that multiplied equal negative 1890 and are 19 apart. I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and say one of them is 22. 19 more than 22 is 41. 22 times 41 is 902. So that wasn't big enough. Let's try 32 times 51. 32 times 51 is 1632. That's not big enough. Let's try 34 times 53. That's 1802. That's pretty close. Let's try 36 times 55. No, that won't work. 37 times 56. 37 times 56 is 2072. That's too big. Let's try 35 times 54 is 1890. There it was, 35 and 54. So when we split this up, we get negative 63 x squared minus, well, let's take it plus plus 35x minus 54x plus 30. Now we're going to factor by grouping, and we can take out a negative 9x, and we're left with 7x minus, no, not negative 9, negative 7. Let's take out a positive 7, and we're left with negative 9x plus 5. Okay, and out of the second one, let's take out a let's take out a 6, and we're left with negative 9x plus 5. So we've got negative 9x plus 5 and 7x plus 6. Okay. Those are our factored forms. Let's enter this on our calculator and let's see what we get. So we go to mode 5, 3, and we fill them in. Negative 63, negative 19, and positive 30. And when we do, we get our x1 is 5/9, and our x2 is negative 6/7. So we need to have a negative sign in this first one, so we'll write negative 9x plus 5 because we want to have a beginning negative symbol. This number goes at the beginning, this number goes at the end. 7x at the beginning plus, we have to change the sign here, 7x plus 6. Okay, so that's our factored form. Let's see if we can get our answer in here somehow. Parentheses, negative 9x plus 5, parentheses, 7x plus 6. Now what's interesting is you could have had the negative sign on the other one, and so the homework might mark your assignment wrong when in fact it's right, and you won't know that until you email me and have me look at it. So make sure you do that if you get it marked wrong and you're pretty sure it's right. Let's look at this one. Once again, we have to split the middle term, so we take mode 1. 14 times 24 is 336. So we're looking for numbers that multiplied equal 336 are 5 apart. Let's try 16 and 13. 16 times 13 is 208. Oh, 5 apart. 16 and 21. Let's try that. 16 times 21 is 336. So our two numbers are 16 and 23. So we have split that middle term into minus 16xy plus 21xy minus 24, 14x squared y squared. Okay, let's take out a 2xy, and we're left with 7xy minus 8. Let's take out a 3 out of the next ones, and we're left with 7xy minus 8. So our factored form is 7xy minus 8 and 2xy plus 3. Let's enter those coefficients in our calculator, mode 5, 3, and it's going to be 14, 5, and negative 24, and we get x1 is 7 over 8, or I'm sorry, 8 over 7, and x2 is negative 3 over 2. So when we factor this first one, the 7 goes on the front, 7xy, 8 goes at the end, and change this sign to negative. 2 goes at the front, 3 goes at the back, and change this sign to positive. So our factored form is, I gotta get it over a little bit more, parentheses, 7xy minus 8 and 2xy plus 3. Oops, I have too many parentheses. All right, next one. Okay, before you start this one, make sure that you factor out the common term, 8r squared minus 30r plus 18. You can divide out a 2, and you're left with 4r squared minus 15r plus 9. Now you got what two numbers multiplied equal 36, added equal negative 15, which would be minus 9r. No, let's try minus 12r minus 3r plus 9, 4r squared. So now we can factor out a 4r, and we're left with r minus 3, and negative 1, negative 3, and we're left with r minus 3. So our factored form is r minus 3 and 4r minus 3. And don't forget we got a 2 also. Now, when you go to using the calculator to solve this one, you have, let's enter it, mode 5, 3, 8 equals negative 30, oops, I gotta start over again, negative 30 and 18. And when you get your solutions, oops, it says x1 equals 3, x2 equals 3/4. So the only factors it gets is r minus 3, this number goes at the end, and 4r plus 3, oh, this should have been a plus here, sorry about that. No, minus 15r. I got to go back and make sure that I entered this right. 8 minus 30 plus 18. R minus 3, R, this should be minus, or this should be positive 3/4, which makes this minus 3. Okay, if you notice, you've got this factor and you've got this factor, but you don't have the 2, and that's because the 2 is not an answer when you solve. So when you try to enter this, make sure you remove the common factors first, otherwise you're going to get it wrong when you enter your answer. 2 parentheses r minus 3 parentheses, I think that was right, r minus 3, 4r minus 3. Number 11. Let's try dividing everything, first of all, by a common factor. Negative 13x cubed plus 130x squared minus 208x. Let's divide everything by negative 13x. That makes this x squared minus 10x, and let's try mode 1. 208 divided by 13 is positive 16. Now we can factor this. What two numbers multiplied equal 16, added equal 10, x minus 8, x minus 2. Let's enter this into our calculator as 1. So it's mode 5, 3, 1 equals negative 10 equals 16. And our calculator says x1 is 8, x2 is 2, which if you notice, those are the solutions when these are the factors. So our factored form has negative 13, negative 13x times, and then our two factors are x minus 8, x minus 2. Oops, too many parentheses. All right, last one. Same thing, 8a cubed minus 24a squared minus 2720a. Let's try removing 8a from everything. We're left with 8a squared minus 3a. So I got to go mode 1 again to get back to computation. 2720 divided by 8 is 340 minus 340. What two numbers multiplied equal 340 are 3 apart? Let's try 20 and, no. Yeah, 20 and 17. 17 times 20 is 340. So the factored form is a minus 20, a plus 17. Let's enter this on our calculator. Mode 5, 3, 1, negative 3, negative 340, and it says x1 is 20, x2 is negative 17. Now, probably the most common thing people do wrong on this kind of problem is they get the wrong letters into their answer. Make sure you get, in this case, they are A's are your letters. So it's 8A times a minus 20 times a plus 17. And that's the lesson for today.